Hello YouTube, it's your boy Sean Matrai here with the Solfachord deck profile. Now if you don't know what this deck does, it's a brand new pendulum deck we got from the box. But that's not it. Oh, nobody sees the wizard. Wrong deck. Anyway, this is the deck and it's called Solfachord. If you don't know what it does, it's a pendulum deck that is more built on consistency rather than in-house disruption. This is my initial build. I got to Legend 2 already in the season. And I'm going to tell you what the deck does. I'm going to show you what the deck does. And it's very strong. It can end on 3 disruptions turn 1. I got some replays to show you. Alright. So first of all, if you are worried about, budgeting, how much money you're going to spend, and whatever else not, fear not, because I am going to tell you what you need 3 of, what you don't. So first of all, your big consistency ones that you want 3 of is Cutia and Foncia. These cards are integral to the Solfachord archetype. And the thing you need to know, let me lower the volume, because I think the in-game volume is going to be louder than my mic, which is going to be a problem if you guys are trying to actively hear me. Alright, so if you don't know what they do, I'm about to go over it. No. Alright, so the first thing you need to know is that all Solfachord cards in the Pendulum Zone have 2 different effects. They either have the effect that Pendulum Summons cannot be negated, or they have the effect that spell or traps cannot be activated when you Pendulum Summon a Solfachord. So you either have those 2 effects. Now, if we look at the events, if we look at the different Solfachords, some of them give you the badge, which I'm about to go into. But another thing to know about Solfachord is that they rely on another mechanic, and that is odd or even scales, and I'm going to go over that. So basically, if you know anything about mathematics, odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, your evens are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You get the idea. Alright, so I'm going to go over what that means in the midst of the deck as well. But let's go over the consistency ones first. First is Cutia. So I'm not going to go with the pendulum effects because they're pretty much redundant. But basically, while you have an even pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, pendulum monsters you control gain 100 times their own pendulum scale. So, for example, if you have an even one, let's say you have a Cutia, then you can raise them all by 800. If this is normal or special summon, you can add a Solfachord pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. So very simple, this is like Kepler. So if you play DDDs, same thing. You normal summon this, you add any Solfachord from your deck to your hand. Very, very good. 3 of. Mandatory. You want 3 of this. 3 Foncia. Foncia is if you have an odd pendulum in your pendulum scale. If your Solfachord would be destroyed by battle, you could destroy this card instead. During your main phase, you can add a Solfachord pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck face up. So very good. If you want to normal summon this and you want something to pendulum summon, this will essentially search. And we're going to go over the skill. I'm going to discuss this skill and you need to listen to me so I can teach you what this does. Alright. But essentially, you summon this. This puts 1 in the pendulums, in your extra deck, which you can pendulum summon. So it essentially searches. So you have 2 cards right there that allow you to search. Now, into your other consistency one. Yes, there is more. Last Solfachord Angelia. Angelia is very good. Because while you have an odd one, if your pendulum in your pendulum scale, and you can kind of see odd, even, how these cards read out. And that's very important because how these cards read out, you get bonus effects like this. If you have an odd one in your pendulum zone, if a pendulum monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell traps or effects until the end of the damage step. So if you know about Armades, it works the similar way, the synchro monster. If you know about a Triumphant King Golem, which by the way, follow me and Steven if you want to see Triumphant Climbs, to Cog. But if you know about Triumphant King Golem, it works in the same way, except that this alone doesn't stop monster effects. There is one that does. We'll go over it. But again, That's your bonus effect. Now, also during the main phase, you contribute 1 Solfachord monster, even if face down. So if they book one of your monsters, let's say you summon 2 Angelia, and they book one of them, well then you contribute it, and then special summon one that's either too higher or too lower. Face up or face down, tribute it face up, face down, Solfachord. So it's almost like Lone Fire Blossom. If you played the TCG, you know how Lone Fire Blossom works. It's essentially Lone Fire Blossom for the deck. But you could summon out your Kulia, or you could summon out your, generally summoning out Kulia or Foncia, because you're generally tributing Angelia yourself. Now, another consistency card, and you're saying, wow, so much consistency. Yeah, there is. Solfachord Gracia. So this is a pendulum scale 4, but again, while you have an even in your spell, in your pendulum zone, if your Solfachord pendulum monster attacks, your opponent can activate monster effects. So that means if you pendulum summon and you swing in the break sword, they're not going to be able to activate that break sword effect to float. So that's very, very good. So that's something you want to know. So this is a card that will prevent monster effects from activating when you swing into them. Now, also, what's really good is that this card's normal special, and you can add Solfachord Spell Trap to your hand. So you can kind of see, right, with the ones I've gone over, Cutia, Foncia, Angelia, and Gracia all do some kind of like digging into your deck to get what you want. So there's a lot of consistency in this deck, which makes it really good. And once I go for the main skill, it's going to even bring it even more together. Now, on top of that, we are running Dreamia. Dreamia does not search. If you have an odd one, if a Solfachord will be destroyed by opponent's card effect, you destroy this instead. If you control a Solfachord in your pendulum zone, you can special summon this. So this is just a quick way. It's almost like Perform and Pow, the level 4 that allows you to summon from the hand. I'll look it up. But it's almost like that. Let me find it, or it's gonna. If I don't find it, it's gonna drive me up the wall. It's almost like Radish Horse. So that's the one you want to compare it to. Now, we also have Elegance. Elegance is a 1-of. I don't run this at more than 1 because this bricks when you want to see starters. It is a starter, but there's better that I think than to start with this. But you can run this at 1 or 2. Place a Solfachord Pendulum from your deck in your spell trap zone. From your deck in your pendulum zone. So, this has 3 effects. First, you can place a Solfachord Pendulum from your deck in your pendulum zone. It's fine, like, this effect comes up, but it's not that good, because you really, if it placed in the extra deck, it would have been more relevant. Add 1 Solfachord from your hand to your extra deck face up, then place 2 Solfachord Pendulums, 1 odd, 1 even, a pendulum scale from your deck in your pendulum zones. So this is like Shanke and Jing Jing, if you know that. So you activate your skill, you activate this card, you place a Solfachord in your hand, and then set 2 scales. Add 2 cards. Now this is the most, this is the biggest effect that comes up. Add 2 cards, 1 even and 1 odd, to your pendulum scale, to your pendulum zone, to your extra deck face up. And if you do, draw 2 cards. So it's Pot of Greed. This is essentially Pot of Greed for the archetype. Very good. And it can draw into your tech cards, like Crackdowns. Next, we play Solfachord Harmonia. By the way, all these Solfachord spell and traps that I'm going over are searchable via your Gracia. So keep that in mind. Harmonia also has 3 effects. And all 3 of these effects come up. Add 1 Solfachord Pendulum monster for your extra deck to your hand. This is great for the grind because you're not always going to have the EMZ open. So you're going to sometimes want to get it back to your hand, setting up a grind. And this also is a potential play to whatchamacallit. This also is a potential play to add back your Cutia. So let's say if I blow up Cutia with Elegance to draw 2, then I could use the field spell to add back Cutia and then have a follow-up. Because that would be in the Pendulum extra deck. So very, very good. Now, on top of that, it has 2 other effects. Increase the pendulum scale of 1 Solfachord in your pendulum scale zone by its level at this turn. This could be relevant if you open up a bad hand. This could save it. And then you can make your scale generally a 9. And it also allows you to get out Colia, which I did not go over. I'm going to go over that. And then the third effect is if you control a Solfachord, Pendulum monster cards with at least 3 different even or 3 different even pendulum scales with 3 different odds, destroy 1 card your opponent controls. So if you have 3 different odds or evens, pop a card. Very good. Now, the last one I didn't go over was Kulia. Kulia is your scale 1. This is good. You get a scale a lot of the time. You only run 2 of this. You can special summon this by attributing 2 pendulum monsters, and you can only use the following effects of Kulia once per turn. You can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, or if you have an odd pendulum scale, 2, and negate their effects. But the second effect is Disruption. When an effect of a monster on the field is activated with an equal lower than the highest lower attack than the highest pendulum scale you have, destroy it. So this is really good just for Disruption. It's great against Resonator because if they go to summon their Sprinter, you pop it. So that's really, really good in that matchup. If you go up against Salad Talker, they activate Debug, you can pop it. If they Jaguar return their Phalanx and activate Wolf's effect, you can pop the Wolf. So there's a lot of niche things that you can do with this. It's like almost like Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit if you played the TCG or Master Duel. This is kind of nice, and it gives us Disruption on turn 2 beyond what we generally would set up anyway. So that's really good. The extra deck right now is just the Galaxy package. It could change. We're running Dweller and Roach. Roach is great against Resonator. Dweller is good against PK. 1 copy of Borolo, 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, and 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Also, Musica, we didn't go over this. This activates 1 of the 3 effects, but the 3rd effect is the one that most comes up. If you're an odd, you can special summon Solfachord with your odd pendulum scale from your extra deck. Even summons 1 with an even scale from the extra deck, based on the pendulum scales you control. And even and odd, this is the one that comes up the most. You target a card your opponent controls and destroys it. And this is Searchable Disruption off your Gracia. So very, very good. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into the replays. And again, you know how I am. I narrate everything. So if you want to hear me, alright, pay attention. Alright, because I'm going to narrate. I'm going to cut the background music and I'm going to narrate what I do. If you want to see me play this live and potentially try to hit clog with it, make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/Sean Matrai. Alright, anyway. Got a couple of replays here for you guys with Solfachord. And this really pops off. This is Legend. We're already Legend 2, as I said before. And I'm going to discuss. This is against Hero Alliance. Okay? AF is just my team name. I am on Angelic Force, so if you want to check this out, Team Wars, you can come watch my match. Now, this is a really good hand. You have Cutia. We're going to normal summon Cutia. On summon, searches Solfachord Pendulum. Okay, I didn't go over the skill, and this is very important I go over it. United Pendulums. This skill is very broken. At the beginning of the duel, add pendulum zones to your field. The following effect can only be used once per duel. Select 1 pendulum monster you control, place in the pendulum zone. Then select the pendulum monster of your deck with the same original type as that monster with a different original name, and place in the pendulum zone. Then negate both cards' effects until the end of the turn. The turn you activate the skill, you can only special summon from the extra deck once, except for pendulums. So pendulums don't count. You can still make a Roach on that turn. And the skill can only be applied if half the deck cards in your deck are pendulum monsters with the same type. So essentially, this is the generic command to the Doom King. So because I summon Cutia, and all of your Solfachords are fairies, you can just scale any Solfachord out of the deck. Very, very good. So we're going to go ahead and scale our Angela. Now, Angela is not only useful for the tribute effect to special summon on the field, but it's also really useful because she's a scale 3 in the deck, which is really good when we don't want to scare our Kulia for the grind game, because that's our low scales, so we want to save them. Now, we're going to go ahead and pen summon 2 here. We cannot summon the Kulia because it's an 8. That would be equal. It needs to be greater. So we're going to activate Gracia. Remember, I said Gracia on summon. Searches Spell or Trap. We search the Musica. Then we are going to go ahead and set 2 and pass. Now, what do we get on this board? How did we get there? Well, Gracia, like I said, on summon, searches a Solfachord Spell or Trap. We search the trap. Okay? Whoop, not that. The Musica. Now, also, we also use Angelia's effect to tribute, Fire Blossom effect, summon Kulia. So we have a pop, we have a crackdown, and we have another pop.
Neos.
Alright, so he's gonna bring out Neos. Now, we are gonna pop Neos immediately because we want to play around Super Poly. If we do not pop now, and he goes and grabs Super Poly, we can't respond to Super Poly. But if we pop it, then he's not gonna have anything to Super Poly with. So we're gonna pop it. Force him into Hero Alliance, he grabs Super Poly.
From my hand.
And goes Neos Fusion, which is fine. We are not gonna crack down. You're saying, Sean, why wouldn't you crack down here? You do not want to crack down here. If you activate Crackdown, you are going to lose. Why? Because all he's going to do is he's going to set Super Poly. Then on our turn, he's going to Super Poly off our monsters with his Neos. And he can Super Poly from one side of the field. Completely one side of the field if you wanted to. Now Cutie is going to go ahead. We're going to search another Angela. And Pendulum Shogun. We are going to go ahead and summon out our monsters. Now keep in mind, as far as odd pendulum scales, we only have 2 types, and we only have 2 types of evens. And as a result of that, we can't pop with the field spell because we need to have 3 types. We only have 2 types.
I activate my monster's effect.
So Grassi is going to search our Harmonia.
From my hand,
and Harmonia will go ahead and activate to threaten to increase the pendulum, but somehow we can Super Poly early, which benefits us. We go into Gaia. Now we can activate Coolia.
I activate a field spell.
Because he triggered Gaia's effect, we activate Coolia and we can pop it. We special summon for the BM. And remember, we get Spell Trap protection. We cannot activate Spell Trap protection. Because we have Angela on the field and an odd scale. So that is game over, Red Rover. Now, this one is another one, and this replay is very good. This is against Mech Knight World Chalice. And I'm going to show you, because this one we established insane advantage turn 1. We go +3. So we activate our skill, United Pendulums, get the skills, and this hand's nuts. We're going to go ahead and normal summon Cutia. Cutia, remember, we search a pendulum, a Solfachord pendulum. Now, 90% of the time, you're searching Gracia, unless you don't have it in hand. If you don't have Gracia in your hand, sometimes you will be searching your Fonzie. Your Fonzia. And Fonzia does come up because you do want to make Dweller and Roach in certain matchups, like PK. And you may say, great, I see how I'm going to get to 1 Fonzia, but how the heck am I going to get to 2? Well, your second relies in Angelia. Angelia could also go 2 lower. What's 2 lower than 6? 4. So if we search Fonzia, and Angelia, then we contribute the Angelia, bring out the 4, and in that case we can make an Abyss Dweller against something like PK, or we can make a Roach against something like Resonator, where that matchup would struggle. So we're going to go United Pendulums, we're going to be able to set up our scales, and we are going to pendulum for 2. Angelia and Gracia. We're going to activate Gracia's effect, we're going to search the Elegance. Now, Angelia will go ahead and tribute self, like the Lone Fire Blossom, and we're going to summon Coolia, and then we're going to activate Harmonia. Now remember, I told you this card's insane. We're going to activate Elegance next. Elegance is Pot of Greed. So we send off our 2 scales, and we draw 2 cards. Now we activate our field spell, and remember, we can add 1 back for the extra deck. Remember the deck profile I specifically went over. You add back Cutia. Remember I said we can add this back for the grind? Well, that's exactly what we did. And not only does Cutia Searcher, but it also has the benefit, much like Sivan Kepler, of being a specific scale, like a 10, that could be very useful. Okay, so if you were playing something like DDD, you would generally scale Kepler, maybe a Ragnarok, or an Orthos, and get your plays going that way. Well, similar to Savant Kepler, Cutia is a scale 8. And because she's a scale 8, we can activate her on the following turn to scale her up, making her very useful in the long run.
I set the pendulum.
So we're going to scale 2. Now you might say, why scale now? Well, the reason why is we want Musica to be live. And in order for Musica to be live for a pop, we need an odd and even pendulum scale. And we have that. Cutia is an 8, and our Dreamia is a 7. So we are good. Alright, so it's going to go Labyrinth Builder. We cannot respond to score. Normal summons the lead, and we are going to trigger Coolia, since the effect was activated Since an effect was activated with an attack lower than our highest scale, which is Cutia, we can go ahead and pop it. Lee has lower than equal. Hello, 0 attack. Hello, 100 attack. So we're good. He's gonna link off into Imduke, but we have a crackdown. We're gonna steal. Alright, he's gonna go memory.
I activated continuous.
But we are gonna chain to. Make sure you chain the purple. Don't activate and shotgun it the minute they summon purple. They will chain and banish their purple. We wait for the effect and we pop purple. Okay, so we hard open the yellow. He goes to pop crackdown. He tribute summons, but he is locked on the memory, so he can't extend further. And now it is our turn. We are going to activate Harmonia, bounce back from the extra deck, and then scale up. Now you may say we have an 8 and 7, so how can we pendulum summon? We scale up to a 9, and then we can summon Kulia because Kulia is an 8. So very, very good. Very, very good. This deck pops off, and it does what it wants to do the most. Oh, wait, this is not it. This is Platinum Duel. Ignore this. This is red there. Ignore this. You see nothing. You saw nothing. This will be in another video. Alright, out of here. Get out of here, the clan.
Let's see.
Alright, get out of here. Alright, so I have one more to show you. And this is my Legend 2 rank up. So I'm going to show you this replay. This one was the rank up. Now remember, if you want to see me play this, make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/Sean Matrai. I will help you build the deck. I will help you with anything you need, combos, whatever. Or with any deck that you may have. Tri-Mid, Resonator, whatever you want to do. Alright, so he's going to go United. And here we go. We are going to normal summon. Now again, we don't open a Cutia. So remember I said Foncia is a good open. Foncia will dump one, and we can dump our Gracia. And we can now pendulum summon it.
Come on out.
We can't bend it out because we stuck with a 5, which is kind of not as good, but Gracia is there for the follow-up. We can activate Angia and summon Kulia in defense. This is PK. Always in defense. Never an attack. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and summon. Put everything in attack.
You didn't see this. Can't
wait
to see
what
you do.
That's fine.
I end my turn.
She's in Phantom.
I activate Ancient Cloak's effect.
Activates the cloak, which is fine.
The Phantom Knights.
Goes Ragged Gloves. Now, we crack down here. The reason why I wait is because we have 2 crackdowns. In this case, where he's the second lance, I had an idea that he might have a second lance. We're going to crack down now. And that way, when he makes Break Sword, we're going to steal it.
I flip over
and there's the second lance, as I predicted.
The souls of the
he's going to make Break Sword.
Right. I activate Ragged Gloves.
And we are going to yoink it. And that is game. Very nice. Very easy. Very, very, very simple. So, like I said, and like I said, it's an attack on Kulia. Kulia, I want to go over one more time. It's an attack of your highest pendulum scale times 300. Not the attack of the monster. So, for example, if I have Cutia, it's 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So, again, if you make that board against Resonator and they go ahead and they want to activate their Sprinter, you pop it. That could stop their whole entire turn. They might not be able to do anything. So, even to start off with, like, Fonzia, and then be able to place Angia in there and get that set up is very good. Because you could potentially end a Resonator turn, even if you have, like, a weak turn 1. So, even with a weak turn 1, you could potentially be beating them anyway. Alright, that's my review of the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. Link in the description below. Sean Matrai signing out. Peace.